And this morning I've been asked to speak about gossip. And Jill has already given us a really helpful and clear summing up of the topic. So a reminder, what is gossip? It's when we talk about someone behind their back when they're not there. When we tell someone secrets without them saying we can. When we talk about someone else's private or personal business. When we say mean things about other people. And when we pass on rumours, especially ones that we don't know to be true. So gossip is certain kinds of talk. Now, of course, talk is good. It's what we do with our friends and family. It's how we build relationships. It's how we take our place in the world. So are there any good kinds of talking about other people when they're not there? Any good kinds of talking behind people's back? Well, of course, there are. Talking about how much we like someone, about how they're really good at something. That is okay. In fact, not just okay, but really, really good. I think we're not so good in our society sometimes about praising other people and telling other people that they're doing really well. So one of the things that we can do, one good way of talking about people, is by saying how much we like them, how good they are at something, building people up rather than tearing them down. Talking about planning a birthday surprise for someone. Now you have to do that behind their back, otherwise it's not a surprise. That's a good kind of talking. If you're worried about someone, you think that they might be doing something dangerous or illegal, that they might be in danger. It's not wrong to talk about that with another person, with an adult that you trust, or if you are an adult, with perhaps Memorial's safeguarding person, who is Julia Dexter. If you're worried about somebody, you talk to somebody about it. So those kinds of talking are okay. They're not gossip. And there is one other kind that I will come back to later. But the kinds I mentioned first, spreading rumours, revealing private information, saying unkind and hurtful things, these are not good. Let's look at why. And here we come to the toothpaste. So you will see I have a tube of toothpaste. I have a small saucer and a spoon. Now, I think this is going to make a huge mess of my study, but anyway, you will see that I am squeezing some toothpaste onto my saucer. I've deliberately chosen the one with the flavour that Luke doesn't like. And now I'm going to take some of the toothpaste, and this is the bit where things could get tricky. You will see I'm trying to get it back into the tube, and you will see that it's not going very well. In fact, a whole load of it is about to fall off. So I'm going to put that down onto the saucer because I don't want it in my computer. And I'll have another go with what's left on the spoon. I'm pushing it back into the toothpaste tube, and you will see again, we're not doing very well. So we abandon that. And the point is, of course, once gossip is out, you can't get it back. And the illustration with the feathers makes that point really well too. It's particularly in these days of social media, once something is out there, you don't know where it's going to go and you cannot get it back again. So some examples. Imagine a situation, you're at school and you see a boy, let's call him Jake, going into the head teacher's office. People see him going in and they start to talk to each other. Oh, I wonder what's that going on? What's that all about? I wonder what he's done. Oh, do you think he might have done something really bad? and the talk goes round the school. Jake comes into school the next morning and everyone's talking about how he kicked a teacher and got sent home. Actually, his mum had come to pick him up for a doctor's appointment. Imagine how he's going to feel. And even if he was in trouble, would he want it talked like that all round the school? Of course not. Some people put 2 and 2 together and make 5 or even 50. It's very easy to get the wrong end of the stick, to misunderstand what we're seeing. A different example, back in 1938, there was a radio broadcast of a play called The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. And it was incredibly realistic. It was all about Martians coming and invading the planet and taking over. Now, some people tuned in halfway through the programme. So they didn't hear the introduction explaining that this was a story, this wasn't real. And they imagined that this was actually happening. So they were panic going on, people calling up the emergency services, people running to churches to pray, chaos going on because they didn't know the whole story. They'd got the wrong end of the stick. But the truth is that gossip really is toxic. It can split churches. It can destroy people's character and reputation. And it can do untold damage. And once it's out there, you can't get it back. A particular kind of gossip that you can find in churches is sharing for prayer. When somebody tells you something about another person so you can pray, and it sounds very Christian and holy and all that, but usually it's just gossip in disguise, and not a very good disguise at that. If you are tempted to pass on this kind of stuff, stop and think. Don't do it. If you're concerned that this person gets prayed for, you pray. You don't need to pass it on. I said earlier that I would come back to one other way of talking about other people, so here it is. And it's called venting or getting it off your chest. And I say this with caution. Sometimes someone has done or said something and you're so angry and upset that you have to let it out. Firstly, bring it to God. You can yell, kick things and swear. God is actually not going to be shocked by that. He's heard it all before. God can cope. But sometimes even that is not enough. And you may feel you need another person to be present to you. And as I said, I say this with caution because it's slightly dodgy ground, but it can be valuable. Choose someone who you know 100% knows how to keep a secret. Someone with a proven track record. You want someone who will hear you out and then help you maybe to see the other side of the story, the other person's point of view. Someone who will help you to think about what Jesus would say and to pray with you. You do not choose someone who will say, well, they're horrible, aren't they? You need to go and get your own back. Go on, get out there and do them some damage. And then go off and tell other people. That is not what you want. So if you really do feel that you have to talk to somebody, choose wisely. So what to do if we're tempted to gossip? Either to start something or to pass it on. I would say, first of all, check your heart. Why are you doing this? What benefit is it to you, to the other person, to the church, to the reputation of the church, to our witness, to the good news of Jesus, all of those things are damaged by gossip. So check your heart. Why are you doing it? Think about, is it true? And even if it is it necessary? And is it kind? The things that Jill reminded us of earlier. How would I feel if it was me that was being talked about like that? One of our readings earlier says, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. And that reading from Colossians 3, kindness pervades that whole reading. It's all about being kind to one another, being loving to one another, being forgiving, being gracious, all of these words. And when you think about gossip, it's none of those things. This is how we should live together as the body of Christ, in kindness. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So gossip, don't do it. Think. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?